we provide a lot of things to a lot of people. In the community, we're a fabric. And in the fabric of the community, people don't realize the services that we do day in and day out. And I do want to say the legislature, when I was one of them for 12 years, I used to remember dealing with the town supervisors or the mayors or the board members. They have no clue most of the time what we're doing. And I'm not knocking them. Sometimes we just don't take a step back and pat ourselves on the back and say, hey, look what we do in your community day in and out, from early intervention to mental health to dental clinics, you name it, to children, youth, and family services, to just outreach in general. To take that time to keeping your roads safe. You name it, we do it, right? It's been the motto. And the hardest thing is to turn the cohesiveness of any organization around, to change the spectrum of services that we're providing, but continue to provide them quality services and expand on them without using taxpayers' money. It's the most challenging thing you can do in any budget. Our budget roughly is coming in about $733 million this year. It's a little up $30 million from last year, but a lot of that is money that has come in for grants. And I want to say to the commissioners out there, thank you. And you do a great job bringing grants in. And the Department of Crime Victims and the impact they have on the community. And from, unfortunately, people being raped, of sexual assaults, or you name it. And they're there. And you look at the service that they provide, but at the end of the day, with the grant funding that she brings in and that department brings in every year, we actually make about $170,000 a year. And that's not our, we're not in the business to make money. We're in the business to provide services, quality services, and make sure we're there for people when they need us the most to lean on. So I'm happy to say this is the 7th straight year in a row that we're holding taxes flat. And actually, this is the 2nd year in a row we're actually decreasing taxes. And a lot of municipalities can't say that. A lot of towns and counties can't say that. And again, it's being creative and working within people and making things happen. Our fund balance is roughly at $60 million this year. Our fund balances, when I took over, was roughly around 20 or 30 million. We've added to our fund balance steadily every year and held the line. But you got to remember, out of our budget of $733 million, and the controller can correct me if I'm wrong, I think roughly $680 million of it is money that we have. The rest is pass-through. And we need 10% of that in reserves to keep that great standing we keep getting from the Tom DiNapoli's office, the controller's office, and no fiscal stress on us. So we still got to add some more to the reserves, and it gets tricky as we go on because the economy's slowing up a little bit, not as much it did in 09 and 10, but it's slowing up. So we have to be careful how we do it. So, but I do want to say it is a compliment to the legislature and my office that we do have a reserve fund of that magnitude that helps us going into the future. Also, we put $25,000 aside for the census, which is important. I wish I could have put more money into that. We've been working with Mayor de Blasio's office in New York City, Kathy Sheen's. Really, we need to count everyone because not only is it House representative seats we're worried about, it's the federal dollars that we can lose if we don't count everyone. That's why we did Rockefeller College, and we've been working with the governor's office. This is in Tonko's office, everyone. This is just a push to make sure we recognize everybody. Our budget also contains $100,000 in funding to implement our economic development strategy, made in partnership with McCoy, who I've been working with. I know I talked to Andrew, we talked about this, and I know Drake and Chris Smith have been doing stuff with economic development, but this is another tool that we can put in the arsenal to go forward to help strategize things going into the future. Additionally, we have put in another $250,000 into the land bank. That brings our grand total, since we've created the Albany County Land Bank, up to $2.5 million over the last 7 years of money support. But the most important thing is we've given them 455 properties. Out of that, $26.1 million in assessed value we have handed over to the land bank. That's why they're successful. They do a great job, but they're successful because of the legislature and my office and everyone being on board, with the way we've been funding them and handing them properties, which is going to be good. Let's remember, too, also to jump a little bit, 80% of our budget is unfunded mandates, 80%. 80%. So that's something we always have to consider as we, that's why I like putting this on the back of our book. As our programs that we're running are going down, the unfunded mandates are going up. And it's hard as policymakers that we continue to do our job and to hold departments accountable, which you're supposed to do during the budget process, and try to expand services. But as things go up and we don't, it makes it difficult. A couple of the other things, our community college has gone up this year. Hudson Valley raised their rates the last 2 years. So we were holding the line and we were doing a pretty good job at like about $10 million a year. It's going to be roughly over $11 million this year because of the tuition increase. So that makes that challenging. So we have to look at that. The other thing is that we're looking at, you're going to see the Public Defender's Office, the Ultimate Public Defender's Office, and 18B increase by 35 jobs. One of the bills that we crafted here, and thank you, Phil, and Chris Quinn, and Dan Lynch, and Albany Law, we crafted a bill that Pat Fahey carried for us in the Assembly, passed the Assembly and Senate. The governor didn't sign it the first time, signed it the second time, but basically gives money for these departments. So we got $3.5 million from ILS to fund 35 positions. It's not really coming out of our budget. It's money coming in. It's all grant funding. We're going to be upping that office probably about 70 positions. And over time, as that goes forward, again, it's all paid for by the state of New York. It's not coming out of us, which is good. Some of the issues we have going forward is the unfunded mandate with no bail bond and raise the age. State has given us a lot of money on other issues, but there's some issues that are in there, and I address with leadership, and they'll talk to the respective legislators on that, how we're going to handle that going forward. But that's going to add a burden on us. I know I was joking around about Sheriff Apple, and we went back and forth, and I got to tell you, he really worked with us on this because we spend roughly about $50 million a year at our jail. It's a 1,035-bed facility. He downgraded a little bit for his homeless shelter. But as this trend goes on, less people are going to be in jail, and rightfully so. And less people who can't afford bond or bail are not going to be in jail, rightfully so. So that population is going to continue to shrink to a number, we can guesstimate, we can guess. The sheriff is great and creative. We talked about it, and working within his department. We found a good substantial money that he handed back over that helped us what we're doing. So I want to thank him for his partnership. All union workers and non-union workers, we settled every contract in the county but one. Everyone took the same, except one union, bargaining union, but the non-union workers are all getting 2% raises this year like they've had steadily the last couple of years. And the best part is our tax rate's going down. So a person with a $250,000 home is going to see a break in their taxes, not much. And I'll save the controller from telling you this. It's probably going to be pennies on the dollar. It's probably going to be about 12 cents. But it helps. Everything helps like it did last year. But we're lowering taxes. And I want to say before the last tax break that we gave, we were probably like the 8th lowest taxes in the state of New York at a 62. We're probably about the 6th lowest taxes in the state of New York for property tax value. And I want to just put it this way. There's roughly 310,000 people in Albany County. Next census will probably be about 320, maybe a little bit higher. And yet we're like the 6th lowest taxes in the state of New York for the amount of services we provide too, and being the capital. You look at Rensselaer, they're about 150,000. I think the last time I checked their tax rate, they're like 26. Schenectady County is about 200,000 people, about the same, about 150,000. Their tax rate's like 33 highest in the state of New York. So, and if you look at Saratoga, they're about 200,000 in their population, and they have a Racino and 2 tracks. But they're like the 5th lowest in the state of New York. And my answer is why. You got all that going on up there. You shouldn't be having tax problems at all. But reality is we do real well with our tax base. And you got to remember our assessed tax value is about $95 million in this county. And most of our properties tax exempt. We know we talk about it in the city of Albany, but we feel the same pain because we not just feel it in the city of Albany, we feel it throughout the county, primarily more in the city. And the point with the sales tax revenue, 40% of our revenue is from sales tax. If that takes a tank, it causes problems like it did before. The other issue is we have this internet sales tax revenue. We don't know. They haven't broken it down how much we've gotten, and they still haven't taken the Ames funding out of it. So that's going to be about $2 million that we're going to have to pay for another Senate and Assembly mandated program that we're going to pay for the infrastructures now out of the money that we're capturing, if we're really capturing it, because we're trying to figure it out. So though the sales tax revenue looks really good right now, with that going on, until we can really truly get our hands wrapped around how much internet sales tax and how much they're telling us to spend in other programs, because the state's telling us how to spend our money, it's kind of a guessing game right now. But things are good. Things have been positive in this county. I mean, our green initiatives, our initiatives in general, working together in a partnership, our nursing homes, I mean, I know everyone's been up there. We branded the nursing home. It's a beautiful facility. It's going to be fully opened in 2020. It's a great place for our loved ones to go, but it's also a great place to work, So I do want to say to all the workers that are here, you're the ones that make us shine. You're the ones that make all these great programs work in Albany County, and without you, it doesn't happen. But to Mike, to the sheriff, to Bruce Higley, to David Soares, working together in a partnership, regardless you agree to disagree, don't get along. It's about the people we represent, and it's about really delivering them services to the people and making sure that we do it in an effective way, but continue to grow to give them an opportunity to give them light at the end of the tunnel. It's about giving that hope to that person that might not have that hope.